Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Skye, and today we have a really exciting video because we're trying out a new indie brand. This indie brand is Geologie Cosmetics. They are an Australian-based indie brand based in Perth, which, that's where I'm from, baby. That was a little bit cringe, but I'm from Perth. I grew up there. It's my favorite place in the entire world, so having a brand come from Perth, I mean, come on! And they are a newer brand to the market. This is their first palette, and they did send this palette to me in PR, so thank you so much to Geologie for sending this palette over to me. They did send the palette in PR, but they're not sponsoring me. They didn't pay for me to make the video. They just sent me the palette for free. So in this video, we're going to be swatching the palette, doing a look with it, sharing a bit of information about the palette, and all of that good stuff. Now, along with the palette, Geologie also sent me a little handwritten note with a bit of information about the palette, so I'll read out a little bit from here because it does contain some important info. Now, the owner said that Western Australia doesn't really have many indie brands, at least not that I heard of, and they wanted to create something unique that was inspired by Western Australia, which touches my heart so much. They are also vegan and cruelty-free, which is important to me, and the Pilbara palette is a bit more on the neutral side, but they have mentioned that they want to do some really colourful things in the future, so I am so fucking excited. If this formula is good, I am so here for some more colourful things from them. The palette will retail for 52 Australian dollars. I'll put the price in USD and in pounds on screen. And the palette will be launching on the 25th of June 2021, so very soon, at 2 PM Australian Western Standard Time at geologiecosmetics.com. So yeah, with all that said and done, let's get into the palette. So this is the unit carton right here. It's really lovely, and on the back we have the shades, the ingredients, and all that good stuff. Palette slides out right here, and we have a beautiful like little envelope fold, so let's see if I can do this without dropping everything. And the palette comes housed right there. Nearly yeeted it on the floor, of course. And this is what the palette looks like on the inside. It is so beautiful, and like I mentioned, it's called the Pilbara palette. This is a 10-pan palette with 6 mattes, 3 shimmers, and 1 duochrome topper. If you don't know, the Pilbara region is in the outback in Western Australia. I visited the outback many times in my childhood, and this does scream like outback to me. I really love it. But anyways, I've been talking your ear off. Let's get on into the swatches. I don't know how to swatch this because it's not really in designated rows. I think I'm gonna go color region. I think you'll understand. The first shade we have right here is called Geyserite, and this is a warm plummy brown. As per usual, we're going to be doing swatches on my arm. There's no eye primer or anything. That's it right there. Ooh, that is nice. Let's go over that one more time. These mattes feel very soft, quite creamy. I will build up these swatches a little bit because these seem like the type of formula that's a bit more buildable. The next shade is Brockman Iron. This is a mid-toned warm brown, and that's Brockman Iron right there. Ooh, a lot more pigmented than that first shade. Goodness. That's a nice shade of brown. The first metallic in the palette, this is copper, and this is just a copper shimmer. This looks very promising on the finger, so I'm curious to see that. Ooh. Oh, let me just even out that swatch a bit. That is a stunning shade, and it is kind of sparkly. Ooh. Oh, it looks so nice on camera, doesn't it? The next shade is Hamishly, and this is a light beige matte. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Hamishly is a mountain range in Australia, and this is what that shade looks like. It's just a light beige colour. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really like beige mattes, but this one does have a bit more depth to it. I will build that up a little bit. It does kind of blend in with my skin tone, essentially, and I don't really use these shades all that often, but it is true to the theme, so I understand why it's in here. It's nice. It's probably not a shade that I would use a lot, though. The next shade is Chert, and this is a light peachy red duochrome, it seems. This one feels a lot different to the copper shade. I think this one might be the duochrome. I'm not too sure. And this is Chert. That's definitely a lot sheer than expected. Let me try and use a different finger to swatch. Let's see. This one doesn't seem to pick up that well on the finger, but I guess we'll never know until we actually get it on the eyes. I might use this shade today just to see how that performs, but I think compared to the copper shade, it's a little bit eh. The next shade is Biff, or BIF, and this is a red matte, like a muted brick red. I'm very excited for this shade. Oh yes, yes! This looks like the red dirt. Oh, I love that shade. I'm a big fan of that one. Probably my favorite matte in the palette so far, although that being said, there's a couple of mattes that I'm very looking forward to swatching. This next shade is Starry Sky, and this is an iridescent shade. It looks to be an iridescent blue to green. Ooh. Oh. Bro. Oh, I think this might be my favorite shade, actually. We know how much I love iridescence. Yes. Oh wow, that is very duochrome-y. Definitely a green to blue duochrome. Hang on. You're not gonna see it on camera that well. Dude, that is so sparkly and pretty. Yeah, you can see it right there, the duochrome in it. Oh, that is a gorgeous shade. I'm so happy that there's an iridescent in this palette. If it were up to me, all palettes would have iridescence in them because I use them so much. The penultimate matte, this is Chalcopyrite, and this is a light olive matte. I like that a lot of these shade names are inspired by minerals. Ooh. Oh, that is pretty. I do love caca shades like this. The final matte is Pilbara Marble, and this is a deep olive matte. I'm very excited for this shade. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Oh, I like that. Oh, I really want to use that. This shade reminds me of my mum. My mum loves olive khaki colors, so I'm a big fan of that one. The final shade is Spinifex. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but this is a olive green gold metallic. It's one of your typical brown base with a green like flash to it and a bit of blue in it as well. Let's swatch this. Okay. There seems to be a varying shimmer formula. I feel like copper is the most like smooth shimmer. The other two, Chert and Spinifex, these ones seem to be a bit more like firmer in the pan, like when I'm swatching them. But that is a very beautiful shade. I honestly feel like Starry Sky is taking the cake with how beautiful that shimmer is. Like, I am in love with that one. Here's one final look at all of the shades in the palette right here. I think for a neutral palette, this is actually really beautiful and exciting because it takes a lot for me to be excited about neutrals. I'm very picky about them, but I really like this color story altogether. I think it's super pretty. So anyways, let's zoom on in closer and do the eye look. All right, now that we're up and close, I'm gonna prime my eyes with the Milani eyeshadow primer. Also ignore the glasses divots in my face. They're just unavoidable at this point. I'm trying to think of what look I want to do because I really want to play with those olives and definitely that red shade. Ooh, I'm not too sure. I think I might do a mix of the olives and the red. And as always, I'm not going to be setting my eye primer with anything. I like to just keep it tacky. I think the first shade I'm going to go into is this light olive shade called Chalcopyrite. Oh my god, I'm pronouncing that wrong already. My short-term memory has just disappeared. And I'm going to take that shade on a clean, fluffy blending brush. It's very pigmented on the brush. And we're just going to blend that into the crease. First impression, really enjoying how that's building and blending. It doesn't seem to be overtly pigmented right off the bat. It's definitely... it's got a nice amount of pigment. It's not like bam, but it's a good amount. It's a good in-between. And I'm gonna make this look hella blown out as always. So we're taking that all the way across. I want to have a nice base for the rest of the colours. I might even use that copper shade on my lid. I'm not too sure. I'm really impressed with how that one swatched, so I do kind of want to use it. Okay, I'm gonna take the shade Pilbara Marble now and I'm gonna put that in my outer corner, and I'm taking this on a more like pointed crease brush. So let's see how this works. Oh, that's nice. Ooh, that's adding a nice amount of depth. One of the models in the campaign shoot is wearing this beautiful, like the olives in the palette. I'll put the picture right here. And it's just so smoky and dark and beautiful. I don't think I'm gonna go as dark as that today, but I definitely wanna have a bit more depth. We're trying new things today. I like how that blended. It's not sticking weirdly in any part, which I find some deeper shades might. But it's not sticking anywhere, it's not getting patchy, it's quite nice. And you can really control how dark you can make it, which I do like. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I'm gonna go back in with that first shade just to blend it out, because I feel like my eyes are two different shapes at the moment. I always do that. I think my eyes literally are two different shapes, because eyeshadow looks don't look the same on both eyes. I think for my lid shade, I'm gonna use the shade Copper. I'm really into this, and I think I'm first gonna apply it with my finger and see how that goes. If I want it to be a bit more intense, I will add some Pixie Epoxy, but I want to just see how these apply with my fingers first, because I do like applying shimmers with my fingers. That's cute. Not super high impact. Let me try to spray my brush and see how that works. I want to try all the methods, essentially, in this video. When I was putting my finger in the pan, these shimmers do feel a bit firmer. I think Copper and Starry Sky are the most soft out of the bunch, so I think that firmer shimmers apply better with a brush. So I'm just spraying a bit of water on that brush with a bit of that Copper shade, and let's apply. Oh yeah, much better. I'm just gonna put it on the first 2/3 of my lid. Oh, that's pretty. That is a nice Copper shade. And I'm gonna use that wet brush on this eye as well. Oh yes. Very nice. Okay, cool. I'm really liking how this is coming out. I'm now going to use this shade, Spinifex, and I'm gonna take that on the same brush. This shade and the shade Chert feel a lot more firmer in the pan than Copper and Starry Sky do. Like when I swatched them, I don't know if you can tell, they kind of sealed up in the pan a little bit, just a little bit. And usually formulas like that, they do apply better with a firmer brush. If you're curious, I'm using the Makeup Geek foiled eyeshadow brush. I don't know if this is available. I bought this years ago. But it's a nice firm brush. I love using this for shimmers. I'm gonna spray that again, and I'm gonna apply that shade to the outer portion to add a bit of dimension. Ooh. Oh, that applied really nicely. Oh, I'm a fan. I want to tie in a bit of that olive with the outer corner. I can imagine that these would work lovely over a glitter glue, but normally I do apply all my shimmers with either glitter glue or Pixie Epoxy. I really like that. I'm gonna go back in with that olive matte just to blend the two together. Now that I'm looking at my face with this, oh, this is, I feel cool. I don't normally use tones like this, but I think I need to start because holy shit, I look fucking gorgeous. I kind of want to keep the olive nature of this going on, but at the same time, I want to use that red. I want to use the red, bitch. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take this shade Biff, B-I-F, and I'm gonna take that on this brush as well. This is my favorite for under the eyes as well. I do have a little bit of creasing from my concealer, so don't mind that. And let's just whack that on. Ooh. Oh, ooh. That is a nicely pigmented shade. I realize that I haven't really been talking that much about the formulas as I'm applying these. I do apologize, I've just been really focused. So from my first impressions, these mattes, they are nicely pigmented and they're very blendable. They're not super pigmented right off the bat like some other indie mattes that we might be familiar with, but the tones blend in really nicely together. Like, I think that complements the look really nicely. Oh, I love these kind of brick shades. That is really pretty. I'm just gonna take this large fluffy brush with a bit of my face powder and just kind of marry the two together. This is my favorite technique for getting a perfect blend. Instead of using a skin tone based eyeshadow, I prefer to use face powder. I find that it works better. And then I think just to use as many shades as possible, I'm gonna take Chert right here, and I'm gonna take that on a stiffer brush as well. And I'm gonna spray it because I really want to see how this looks. Because this shade is like particularly very, very hard. Very hardly pressed. So I'm just like trying to use my brush to dig it out a little bit. And now I'm gonna spray it a little bit. And I'm gonna put that on the inner portion of my lower lash line. I always find this very hard to record. Okay, this is definitely more of a topper shade. I think this might be the topper shade in the palette. At least I hope so, because this base isn't that strong, but the shimmer is nice. It's like a peachy gold shimmer. That's quite cute, actually. I can imagine this would work especially really nicely on top of a glitter primer. All right, I was a little bit worried about that shade, but I think it actually looks quite lovely. Okay, finally for my inner corners, I'm gonna take this shade, Starry Sky. Oh my god, I'm so fucking excited for this one. You have no idea. Okay, this shade seems to be a lot softer in the pan compared to the other shimmers. Yes, I didn't spray my brush with this one. Oh, fuck me up. Well, that's going as my face highlight. Don't you fucking worry. That's very sparkly. This reminds me of a Divina Sugar Drops shadow. And y'all know I love that formula. Okay, for my waterline, I'm gonna use this Linda Hallberg Mood Crayon in Likeable Mood, this orange shade. I should really sharpen this, but I apparently like pain. Okay, I'm gonna go off camera, do my blush, mascara, and lips, and I'll come back to do my face highlight and to wrap up some final thoughts. Okay, I've done the rest of my face. If you're curious, the lipstick I'm using is the Oden's Eye Velvet Lipstick in Light Peach, my All Reliable. For blush, I'm using Lethal Tendril, a beautiful orange. Now for highlight, let's use this fucking Starry Sky shade. I want to bathe myself in this, like, immediately. So let's do that. I'm gonna take my favorite highlight brush. This is the Zoeva 134 Luxe Powder Fusion brush, a very nice highlight brush. Just gonna dip my brush, and since this is more sparkly, I'm gonna spray it a little bit because I find that works best for sparkly highlights. And let's just apply this. Yes. Yep. I hope you can see that on camera. That is beaming to the lords. I love that for face highlight. Yo. Geologie, if you ever consider doing face highlights, this formula is the one. Oh yes. Just gonna shove that all over my face. Just gonna zoom in a bit closer so you can see the final look with the palette. I really fucking like this a lot. I love how this look came out. I love the color story altogether. I think it's very unique, in my collection at least. I was a little bit nervous for the shimmers when I swatched them, but they did apply very beautifully with a wet brush. That metallic shade, the inner corner, that didn't need to be wet at all. That is just blinding and beautiful. The mattes blended really nicely. Like I mentioned, this is just a first impressions, but I will be doing a 3 looks 1 palette plus review with this one very, very soon, so you'll be able to see my full review of this in that video. But first impressions, I'm really impressed so far. The mattes are really lovely. They're soft and they are buildable. They're not super wham bam in your face pigment right off the bat like the Glam Shop mattes or the Lethal mattes, but they are buildable. They're very nice. They're very easy to blend. Not patchy at all, didn't stick to any weird parts on my eyes. They even worked well under my eyes, which I set my concealer with powder. Now the metallics, I managed to use all the metallics in this look right here. I love copper. This is such a beautiful copper shade. It's so wet and sparkly on your eyes and very intense. I really like it. Now Chert and Spinifex, you do need to wet these or layer them on top of a tacky base. Just from first impressions, they don't really apply well with your finger, it seems. Even copper, it didn't really apply that well with a finger, but that could change if you use a tacky base like a glitter glue. I'm a little bit disappointed in Chert, I can't lie. I mean, it's pretty. I put it on under my eyes on top of that red matte, and I think it looks really nice. I'll still have to play with that a bit more to see if I can get it to work a bit better. I feel like if I used a glitter glue, that might help it a lot. Starry Sky, this is just magnificent. Like, I don't think I really need to say how much I love that. But yes, I've only used 3 of the mattes in here so far. I didn't really use the neutrals, but I will use them in my 3 looks. I am really excited about this brand. This is a really unique color story for me. I think it's so cool, and I love the inspiration behind it. I like that it's a weird shape, but there's no wasted space. The triangle pans are really cool too. I am really impressed with this brand so far. Geologie, thank you again so much for sending me this palette. I cannot wait to see what you come out with next. Now, it does retail for 52 Australian dollars, which I did look up what it is in pounds, and that is £28.42 or something. But just off first impressions, I really like the quality of this so far. I love the look that I did. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do let me know, are you planning to pick up this palette? What are your thoughts so far? Do you like the look that I did? The color story? I'd love to know. If you'd like to see more makeup content from me, then follow me on my Instagram. It's beautyybyskye right here. I post all of my looks there and I'm active on there every single day. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you here. And as always, stay safe, wash your hands, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.